Hello, welcome to the 2015 half a month late for Halloween special. Enjoy.
In 2012 I began my countdown streak with a professionally made video called the Top 10 Creepiest Gaming Mysteries, a video so ahead of its time the quality refused to catch up with HD options. So I decided to follow up with a new one the same year's Halloween, with a new version of the list, slightly better but still behind in time. So the next year for 2013's Halloween, I remade the list to cover 12 creepy gaming mysteries and claimed it to be the final episode in this trilogy. As a video I highly regard as one of the only highlights of season 1, I thought I would never have to cover any more creepy mysteries in gaming. So I celebrated 2014's Halloween by not talking about anything at all. Whoops. This year, I might have decided to return to my roots and cover the same topic, but claim this to be a new set of creepy mysteries videos I will cover annually. So, just for the sake of a wonderful blend of nostalgia and terror, I present to you Top 10 Creepiest Gaming Mysteries. The spoops have returned. This year's list of gaming mysteries have been chosen for their most ambiguous nature. In other words,
are they scary or are they not?
Specifically here, I didn't want to just choose the mysteries that have been documented so many times before, because I wanted to cover the slightly lesser known ones, or at least the ones that Cheerio for Win has yet to talk about before his significantly longer inslates. What a ledge. But regardless, this is a list about creepy mysteries, and I'm here to talk about the ones that have the greatest legacy behind them. Hope you enjoy.
Number 10.
California Speed is your average, okay, I've honestly played better, racing game. You drift your car along a motorway for a few minutes, then think, okay, I've honestly played better. You might have come across this if you watched the Easter Egg Hunter, because that's genuinely the only way I would have come across it. You know when you're speeding across a motorway and find a questionable billboard with a weird ad on the side of the road? This is like that, but slightly more demonic. I say demonic, it's really up to interpretation of whether it's some sort of sick joke or not. You have to drive around the Mojave Desert for a couple of minutes, making your way to this area where you might spot the billboard, but it is hard to see, let alone get to. You have to kind of edge your way across the curb slowly, but eventually you'll get to the point where it's just in sight. And if you zoom up on it, the billboard reads the following: sometimes, God takes mummies and puppies away, and sometimes, just sometimes, I do. Which overall is a disturbing thought. It makes up one of the most traumatic vehicle-based games out there. That and M&M kart racing. No one knows what this really means. As I say, it's all up to how you perceive something as bizarre as that. After all, no one would know what that means, considering no one would know what the game is in the first place.
Number 9.
Silent Hill is great because it always succeeds at creating this tranquil and murderous atmosphere. It can get so calm, yet also so chaotic. It sounds strange, but the Hill of Silence is pretty dang terrifying, and such a blend calls for some super scary secrets. Throughout the length of Silent Hill 4, you often wake up in a bed and you can venture outside into the next chapter, as this game explores the protagonist, Henry Townsend's, memories in the form of dreams. So you wake up from a dream and end up in this bedroom and you can go outside. Some of these dreams are truly hellish, so it's a relief to finally wake up in a musty, dim bedroom that may not be any less dangerous than the actual dreams themselves. In this bedroom you can peek through a hole in the wall and spy through Eileen in her room, but if you wanted to perv on her, then you could not be more disappointed. Instead you'll see her merely standing around. But if you look closely at what's on the bed, you'll notice a rabbit doll, just lopsided and leaning on the bed. Now, I like rabbit dolls, but in the context of Silent Hill, these things ain't no trip to Fiji. After you welcome yourself to your nightmares over and over like Alice Cooper with Alzheimer's, you'll eventually witness the unpleasant hospitalization of Eileen. Then, having woken up in your bed once again, you have the option to peek through the hole in the wall. But would you expect to see her again? Of course not, she's in hospital. So if you look through the hole in the wall, you won't see Eileen or anything as a matter— Holy s—
Well, there is no way I am looking back through that again. No way. Nuh-uh. I never.
Number 8.
In 2011, a controversial trailer was released to build up to a game titled Slavery, the Game. It was quite scary actually. It was a trailer that showed how players would be able to control and exploit their own slaves in-game with weaponry, and was based back when slavery was a common thing. Loads of people were horrified at this thought, wondering if such a game was too cruel to be real. The idea that players would be able to take advantage of their own slaves and an accurate depiction of that time period was quite disturbing to see. Until later that year, a Dutch filmmaker revealed that this trailer was a hoax. Slavery the Game was not a game meant to be actually released. Turns out it was a marketing campaign for a documentary about slavery. They wanted to attract the heavy topic to a younger crowd. Even then, this was pretty explicit. Whether people liked or hated the idea of this being a commercial, it still got people talking about the horrors of slavery. That's good, I suppose.
Number 7.
I haven't played Splatoon yet, so I just play along with the kid or squid memes for the banter. I really don't know what on earth you peeps are chattering on about, so whatever you are discussing, you seem to be doing it quite passionately. However, the final boss of Splatoon, yes, I spoiled it for myself sadly, is a super big cuttlefish. You squirt around a few gallons of paint to bring the big beast down. Cthulhu, I think this bastard's called. Or Zoidberg, why not? What's the Scuttlefish?
Alright, so while I was recording my lines, I referred to the final boss as the Scuttlefish. Now, I have no idea where I got this name from, but you'll have to bear with it for now.
Has been killed. If you hang around for long enough after the fight, you might faintly hear the moans and screams of it having been killed. Genuinely, this is quite real. Someone took a clip of this and turned the volume up to properly hear the Scuttlefish's death sounds, and this is what they discovered. If you listen close enough, you can hear the sounds of a Crack.com article being written.
Number 6.
Mother 3 is good. Yeah, that should get the fan base involved. But known for having some pretty unusual boss fights. Don't even need to list examples, you probably know one already if you've played anything related to Earthbound or Mother in some form. But the final fight with the Masked Man is renowned for being even more disturbing, but incredibly sad at the same time. And, spoiler alert, this is quite a big chunk of the story being revealed. The Masked Man is revealed to be the protagonist Lucas's brother, Klaus. However, hidden in the game's data is an unused enemy that was at first thought to be an even darker version of this fight, as if the fight where your possessed brother kills himself wasn't morbid enough. This hidden boss fight seemed to have been intended to be Lucas's worst nightmare, a rather deformed version of Klaus. The first form of this fight shows a robot, thought by Lucas to just be Klaus possessed. Later on, this form pulls itself into other forms, each of them gradually becoming more and more disturbing. You'll see a yellow angel, Klaus without clothes, Klaus with clothes, Lucas and Klaus on the same screen, an eyeless, screaming Klaus, and finally... This arrangement of Klaus's different forms is so chilling because it's so deliciously surreal. It's distorted and horrifying to see a dead-eyed Klaus wiggle around on screen. The more observant players notice the heavy breathing in the background of the fight. As players began to make up theories about what this could be, developer Shigesato Itoi found about this discovery and confirmed that this array of Klaus's forms was not meant to be a boss at all, but it was instead supposed to be the background for the final battle, showing Klaus's dying state of mind. Whether this would have made the final fight more powerful is up to you, but this is the stuff of nightmares regardless of what you think. A fucked up slideshow of your vacation into purgatory, waiting to make you regret you ever explored the game's data.
Number 5.
Hong Kong 97, one of the funniest games of all time, but for all the wrong reasons. Any stickler on James Rolfe will have seen his take on the abysmal spin-off from the movie of the same name, if it even deserves to be associated with the movie. Hong Kong 97, the game, takes screenshots from Coca-Cola, the decapitated head of a Chinese leader, And even the fucking ugly reds. That is a genuine quote. Oh my. The fact that this tosser isn't even Jackie Chan, but a man named Chin. So this guy's going around Hong Kong trying to kill all 1.2 billion of the communists. Well, you know, if you kill one communist, you gotta share that killing with them all, I suppose. There we go, good communist joke. And I gotta tell you all of this because of the most mildly disturbing part of this game, which is the game over screen. It's a picture of a dead corpse laying down on the ground with a timestamp over it. Now, the fact that developer Kowloon Kurosawa chose a picture like this can be taken in good humour, but then you wonder, where is this picture even from? Who was this man? And more importantly, is this a picture of a real death? So I did some research, and when I say that, I just went on Reddit and tried to find out if anyone knew who the man was. And sure enough, if you look at the timestamp, it says August 6, 1992. A man who died on that specific date was a Polish boxer, Leszek Blazinski, who committed suicide. And this picture might be a photo taken from the autopsy. If this is so, then that's quite sick. Stealing the Coke logo is silly enough, but it's horrible that anyone would put something like that as the game over screen. But whatever floats your boat, I guess.
Number 4.
Warning, spoilers for Undertale are up ahead, so if you haven't played the game, or you still have yet to finish it, then you might as well skip the segment by clicking this annotation over here. Otherwise, we'll move on. Undertale's been very popular over the past few weeks, and its story not only looks into the darker side of the RPG genre, but also into the relationship between monsters and humans, and how the player interacts with them. Because it's been released only recently, some have still got questions about the game's various characters, and sometimes moments. Is Sans really a skeleton? Why is Entry 17 in the True Lab missing from the game? And most of all, the biggest mystery of all, who is W.D. Gaster? You see, if you've played Undertale and you've never heard of this person before, then that's completely understandable. W.D. Gaster is never explicitly mentioned in the game, or even seen. You have to look into the game's files, and you'll find various mentions of him. And when you play the game again, you might actually notice some odd dialogue said by characters like the Riverman, or even during the Wrong Number song. Apparently piecing the clues together that you find within the game's files reveals that Dr. Gaster was probably the royal scientist before Alphys took over, and maybe he was responsible for creating the core, but he fell into his own creation and was wiped from existence. But he still remains in the game's files, so he can be found through that means, but overall, no one really knows why he's there. At least, not yet. So all I can do right now is just give you clues to W.D. Gaster's existence. For example, if you look in various rooms in the game, and when I say these rooms, they're the ones that are hidden in the game's files, so they were probably taken out last minute. But if you look around them, you'll see W.D. Gaster lurking around in the shadows, which is creepy, because he does look quite menacing. Apart from these levels, within the game itself, the game's main story, you'll find the river person, who can transport you between levels. He says some odd gibberish between those journeys, but one point he says, "Beware of the man who speaks in hands." Now we'll get to this in a minute. A bit of dialogue that you can find that is said by W.D. Gaster is the entry number 17 from the True Lab, the one that is missing from the game itself. If you read it, it is all in wingdings, the font that you cannot read unless you translate it from symbols to letters. Now many of the symbols in wingdings are in fact hands. And finally, we have to talk about his relation to Sans. Sans is quite a hilarious character. He's known for being funny, lazy, and just overall quite a chill guy. But maybe this is all a ruse, and the reason I think this could just be a mask of his true personality is because of his true abilities to be able to traverse timelines. He seems to be aware of the fact that the player can reload saves and just restart whenever they want to. There aren't many characters in the game that can do this. In fact, the only other character apart from Sans that can do this is Flowey. And Flowey is already one of the most powerful characters in the game. One of Sans' attacks is called the Gaster Blaster. The reference there is just pretty blatant. But most of all, his room. Sans' room is locked for the majority of the game, unless you manage to find a key, which he gives to you if you keep talking to him over and over again near the end of the game. Once you get this key, you can go into Sans' room, and it turns out he was just tricking you. Or maybe he wasn't. If you go behind his house, you'll go into a secret workshop that has a blueprint written in symbols and a broken machine. The blueprint could relate to W.D. Gaster as it's written in symbols, and as we all know so far, Gaster speaks in wingdings. The broken machine could also be the machine that Gaster used to create the core, and the one that he fell into that wiped him from existence. But then again, this is all just a theory. Past this point, this is all I can really say about WD Gaster. I, nor anyone else, really knows the truth, and I doubt we'll know about it for a while. But for now, I'll leave you with this. If you enter your save file name as Gaster, the game automatically resets. Just thought I'd put that out there.
Number 3.
There's always got to be that one messed up game that can challenge even the most surreal minds. And I've talked about the Luna game and the LSD Dream Simulator on previous lists. But it turns out there is one that is probably even more surreal. Strawberry Cubes, a freeware game made by Lawrence Schmid. Don't let the title fool you into thinking this is some sort of sorted food recipe. Strawberry Cubes is no dessert at all. Think of Eversion, but imagine if it was cocked up from the start. There's static all over the screen, there's this ear-piercing hum ominously going around in the background. I mean, this is just what you'd expect nowadays because so many creepy games are out there, but this game seems to be different. The disturbing aspect is very unsubtle, and you'll definitely know that it's a messed up game. But nothing seems to actually pop out and scare you, but this game makes you feel like something is going to happen at any point because of the atmosphere it creates. Even the controls are difficult to handle, and you'll basically have to play a game of trial and error to get through the stages, but mostly error. If you can even find the exits with this many distractions on the screen. It's like looking through a screen of mist, this game. You wander around into rooms full of seeds, H's, asterisks, hyphens, and it's all a mix of red, white and pink. And some places are hidden QR codes. You know, those white and black squares you can scan to get cool freebies. But in this game, you scan these to get rather disturbing images. It's difficult to have an idea of what you're meant to do because it's all played out using symbols and a complete lack of instructions. You don't know what kills you and what doesn't. There's no warnings. Imagine Cat Mario mixed with Dante's Inferno, with magic mushrooms acting as a catalyst. This is a game that's creepy from start to middle, because there's no way you'll get to the end. And if you want to get info from the site, don't bother. It's just as fucked.
Number 2.
Shooting out sequels as quickly as rabbits shoot out offspring, the Five Nights at Freddy's series has gained a few mixed reactions over this past year. The first one came out, I thought it was quite good for what it was. The second one came out, I thought that was the best one in my opinion. The third one, a bit stale. And the fourth one was, story-wise, probably the strongest. But one thing, to me at least, remains truly creepy: the animatronics. If you don't know already, the game requires you to watch rooms via security cams in a Chuck E. Cheese that's probably been shut down for the best possible reasons. And whenever you fail to keep track of these guys, these animatronics like Freddy, Bonnie and Chica will pop out of nowhere to give you a good fright, and if worse, will kill you by stuffing you into their suits. Pleasant. But what's more interesting is the hidden Easter egg involving Golden Freddy, and it is a bit of a scare. If you watch the office camera, then you'll see this poster over here. If you switch to this camera view at the right time, or, well, wrong time, you'll spot Golden Freddy, for sure. If that wasn't enough, switch out of this camera view and guess what happens? And the game shuts down. I thought Golden Freddy would have been the scariest part of this game, but it turns out there's even more to find in this game that might shiver your timbers, as they say. This is about the missing children incident. A lot of this is down to theories, but I am going to try and keep it to a factual edge. In the first Five Nights at Freddy's, you can find newspaper clippings in the East Hall corner, and if you take time out of your hour to read them, you'll see the headline, "Kids vanish at local pizzeria. Bodies not found." The clippings you find will explain that during 1 year at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, 5 children had gone missing. Police suspected that a man had dressed up as one of the animatronics, as if they weren't horrifying enough already, led them to an enclosed room like a pedophile Pied Piper, and murdered them. After this happened, the animatronics in the restaurant began to leak blood and mucus, and one parent had even described the smell as reanimated carcasses, which is just rank. This led to health risks, as if, you know, hygiene is the biggest problem in this web of issues right now. But for the good of everyone else, they closed down the place. And this is where the theory comes about that the animatronics in the game might just be the revived bodies of the missing children. And later in the series, the purple guy from the death minigames is confirmed to have been the killer of the children, which brought up even more theories. The phone guy could have been involved, or something to do with Golden Freddy, as I mentioned before. And it confuses me because, overall, why is the protagonist of the game hired to patrol the restaurant if it's shut down and known to be infected with people who might kill you. I don't know, I don't understand this game as well as others. But as people further look into the story, new things will be discovered, and maybe we'll find the truth about the series.
Number 1.
I didn't think I would be able to find anything more morbid than Ica Village from Animal Crossing back in 2013, but as it turns out, there's a new kid on the block, and this kid is ruthless. Of course, it's up to you whether this is creepier than Ica Village, but let me explain what this is. In fact, you can try this out for yourself if you have a mobile device. Download the app, play this game, and try and solve the puzzles this game throws at you. But if you think it's going to be simple, it isn't. It's a game which has puzzles so complex, with solutions so out there and unusual, a subreddit was created for people to solve them in groups, and still, some puzzles have taken weeks, even months on end to finish. It's a game that, past the first group of puzzles, may hide some dark secrets with its solutions that form a story. This is Do Not Believe His Lies. The first couple of puzzles in this mobile app, developed by Lucas Matabluski, take a bit of wit to solve. You might have to turn the brightness up to see the solution, or take a screenshot, rearrange puzzle pieces, translate from Morse code, or even finish a QR code and scan it. But this is only the first couple of puzzles, and to be honest, those are pretty easy compared to what's next. As they move on, the puzzles start growing more difficult, like asking you to watch a dark room for a certain amount of time, and the solution might pop up in a random place, or you might need to use one of the sites that can go back in time on a specific website, in this case CNN, and if you scroll down you'll find the solution. Some puzzles even require you to translate between several languages, including Esperanto. Yes, even that. So many of these puzzles are demanding and ask you to think outside the box with the clues that it gives you. And because of how unpredictable some of these can be, the source of the solution itself might not totally be trustworthy. After all, the name of the game is Do Not Believe His Lies. By far, Puzzle 48 has been the most confusing. There are so many paths the game can lead you on. Different codes, different pictures, different solutions. And when you finish it, it says Phase 1 is finished and Phase 2 is about to begin. So there's different phases, and it keeps going on, oh my god! However, this is barely the disturbing aspect, as of course it's just puzzles. But the solutions themselves are worthy of noting. If you string together all the answers of the questions, you'll find that they form a story, and said story goes like this. The first time I saw him there, I was just a child. He keeps showing up in my dreams. I cannot escape him now. He is watching you. Please help me. I am scared. I hate me. I have to go now. Be careful, friend. From then on, it spirals into more disturbing subtext like hehehe, I see you, or give up now, and the very poignant, it is all in vain my lord, I have suffered enough, we await you at the end. To this day, the full game has yet to be finished. Some wonder on the subreddit about the next solution being available, or having even been found out yet. Occasionally, a stream on the official site is offered to those who want more information about the game's questions, but it's quite rare and you'll have to keep a good eye out for it. One solution said, the wrong way. When this answer was found out, some people wondered whether the game was trying to tell them maybe they did go the wrong way, and some questions should be re-answered using a different method that they might have overlooked the first time. Or maybe the wrong way was just literally the answer and some are just being a bit too over-analytical. Finally, several videos have been released out on YouTube by Terminus being a persona made by the developer. And these YouTube videos come in parts, which can be found hidden in the puzzles or on the site. Relating to the puzzle itself, these videos tell more dialogue about Terminus, whatever it could be, and the search for the 5. What is the 5 referring to? The 5 video parts? That's likely. Or, oh, these maps at the end here. A name, a year, and this 4-digit number. What could they be? The peeps on Reddit did research referring to the locations, dates, and names given in the videos, and they found out about different landmarks and events in history that could give us even more clues about how to solve the rest of Do Not Believe His Lies. Each country shown in the videos refers to a certain place that we're supposed to meet him at. No one knows when, and most of all, no one knows why. Who knows what the 4-digit numbers at the end of each video could mean? Eventually we'll find out, but for now, the mystery of Terminus and the lies that we apparently should not believe will go on until the unforgiving puzzle is solved. And I assume that won't be for a long, long time. If you want to join in on this whole Do Not Believe His Lies puzzle, you can get the app on the App Store and find a link to the subreddit in the video description. I am MasterJakeStudios, and maybe I should ask you, for your own sake. How much trust are you willing to put into what's out there on the web? It's a large, large world. You can come across many morbid things. Be careful. I'll promote an end to this video. See you very soon.
Hello, I am the announcer guy for the transitions. I'm the one that says stuff like number 10 and number 9. But that's all out of the way now, isn't it? I'm gonna go and hibernate for a few more years. But anyways, if you want to check out stuff on this end slate for more stuff on MasterJakeStudios, then by all means go ahead. Here is a playlist of all the new countdowns, a playlist for Blue Shell, the review series done by Ricky, and a link to Challengers Approaching, a collab channel with many different people, including Ricky, but also with people you'd probably rather not see than Ricky. Alright, I'm done. Bye.